The Great War has shaken things up not only physically and psychologically, but most essentially, yet usually overlooked, figuratively. What should we do after the war? How to behave and what we are? When it comes to the most prominent figure in American literature, Hemingway appears always on top. His masculinity tolerates no doubt. He goes fishing, hunting, and having bad temper and mental health. Just like his peer, when the Great War broke out, he enlisted to be on the front line. The experience of war shaped his first hit. The sun also rises. Being brave and civilized served no use facing modernism, dystopian capitalism, and mechanical warfare. The anomic creeps into the definition of modern human beings. Hemingway writes the book after the war, as he unites with other American expatriate writers in Paris. Inspired by his trip to the fiesta with his wife, the book is born from all those experiences, and the juxtaposition of the novel and the story of Hemingway himself would be indispensable to dive into the plot. The book begins with the narrator Jake telling us about his old friend Cone. These two and other expatriates are staying in Paris until they decide to visit Spain and join the colorful fiesta. The relationship among the characters is the centerpiece of the plot, which involves mostly around Lady Brett, the love of life to Jake. The tricky part is that Lady Brett already has a fiancé, Mike, and still develops a relationship with Cone. As the fiesta unfolds, Lady Brett falls in love with a young bullfighter, Romero, and goes away with him. The last twist is she abandons Romero and asks Jake to fetch her. The events are fairly simple. Some friends in Paris going to Spain for a trip, then come back. Sure, but what elevates this book into magnum opus is the characters. Each of them seems to be a snapshot of a generation traumatized by the war. Every individual is different, scarred differently, and display their distortion differently. When one combines them together, the story writes itself. Jake describes Cone as shy and nice. His fierce physique appears to be the strongest among all the others in the book. Cone's paradox is that he is the least welcome person in the group. Even Brett's fiancé Mike disrespects him wantonly, despite Mike being an alcoholic and broke. In one incident, Mike aggressively tells Cone, "Why don't you know you are not wanted?" And, "Do you think you amount to something, Cone? Do you think I belong here among us?" Cone can't do anything under this modern world. Being an old-fashioned gentleman no longer functions. Even his brawn can't save him from his suffering. When Lady Brett has gone with Romero, leaving all the other male characters aside, Cone insists on asking them the whereabouts of Brett. The response of Mike, "Oh, go to hell, Cone," spirals the situation into a full fight, Cone against all the other guys, including Jake, and Cone knocks down all of them easily. After that, he manages to find Lady Brett in Romero's room. What happens is that he utterly dominates in the fight. However, Cone still fails to attain the very thing he desires: respect and the lady. Right after this, he tries to shake hands with Romero and Brett, and got rejected, which is rather funny, and he starts to cry. At last, Jake finds him sobbing in his room.
"I guess it isn't any use," he said. "I guess it isn't any damn use."
She gains no satisfaction with men, and always turns back to Jake. Throughout the plot, Lady Brett has relations with Mike, Cone, Jake, and, lastly, Romero. Brett's relationship with Jake is particularly complicated. To Jake, Brett is the love of his life. Indeed, the two seem to have profound emotional bond. As Brett falls for Romero, Jake is the person she confesses to and displays vulnerability to.
"Don't be difficult. You're the only person I've got, and I feel rather awful tonight."
When Jake suggests she still have Mike and Cone, in turn, Brett dismisses the idea, creating an exclusivity between them. Furthermore, she asks, "Do you still love me, Jake?" Jake answers, Yes. Immediately after this, she confesses she's mad over Romero. Brett is acutely aware of Jake's feeling, yet deliberately tortures him. In the crescendo of the fiesta, Romero's bullfighting wins over the frantic cheer from the audience. His masculinity conquers Brett. Following this, they happily go away together. But this is not a fairy tale story. Later, Brett telegraphs Jake to fetch her. Brett abandons Romero as he asks her to marry him and becomes womanly. Unlike Mike, Kong, or Jake, Brett is unable to exert her control. At the end, just like Kong, she failed to find happiness and meaning. No matter how fierce they endeavor, it is futile, just like the ball in the bullfighting rings. Jake is emotionally detached and less aggressive, but he is not immune to the interpersonal problem and nihilistic sensation. If Kong and Brett can be compared to bull, Jake is the castrated ox, both figuratively and physically.
Undressing, I looked at myself in the mirror of the big armoire beside the bed. Practical too, I suppose. Of all the ways to be wounded, I suppose it was funny.
This major element is never described directly in the book. Jake's friend Bill puts it, "That's the sort of thing that can't be spoken of." In his flat, Jake reflects on his accident as a rotten way to be wounded, and his encounter with Brett as, "I suppose she only wants what she couldn't have. Well, people were that way. To hell with people." Jake is not immune from his remark. Doesn't he also want Lady Brett? Following this, Jake starts to cry, just as Kong does after the brawl, both defeated in their pursuit of masculine image. At the end of the novel, Brett went back to Jake. She is unfulfilled and seeks comfort from Jake. However, this time, Jake refuses to follow Brett's subtle power game. The unruly and dominating parts derived from her unladiness, showing best by her vulgar lexicon like damn, hell, or. The male characters do the same, and in this regard, they engage in the same power game, counterintuitively. To disrupt this hierarchical structure is to be completely detached, answering the powerful with softness. And that is how Jake achieves his masculinity in the end.
Oh, Jake, Brett said. We could have such a damn good time together. Yes, I said. Isn't it pretty to think so?